Hello and welcome to Miami View Women. Happy Friday. I am here today. My name is Carolina Castillo, and I am here today with two fabulous women. Of course, we keep celebrating Women's History Month every single day, not just in March, but every single day. Right, ladies?
Yes.
All day, every day.
And I'm so happy to have today Miriam, our co-host, co-producer, fabulous author, entrepreneur with us. Love you. And you will never guess who my next guest is. Her name is Liza Santana. And for many of you who do know Only in Dade, yeah, well, listen, she's the PR. All right. So this is about to get interesting. So Only in Dade, it has 550,000 followers. If you don't know about Only in Dade, please follow it. She's also the founder of Creativas Group, PR, branding and event publicist and strategist, writer, influencer, and you'll never guess, my dear friend that I've known since I was 15 years old.
Oh, gosh.
So welcome.
Thank you.
Woo!
I'm so excited to be here with you all.
Thank you for taking the time. What an intro and a bio. I am
I'm
so excited.
Humbled. I'm humbled. Do you want a job in PR, Caro?
No sé. Vamos a ver. Maybe we could join up, our PR marketing. Y ahí sí que sky's the limit.
Always. When women collaborate.
So Only in Dade, are we talking about the Instagram that I see and repost all the time?
Oh, yeah.
Love that account. Love that account. It's an honor.
So before we get started with all of that wonderfulness, I want to tell everybody how we met. So we were 15 years old, living in Miami, and we were doing I don't know what pageant. I think it was Carnaval Miami.
Yes.
O como tú dijiste, el Continental,
Yeah, thinking about it, and it was Carnaval.
It was what?
It was Miss Carnaval, the Kiwani's annual beauty pageant.
I love it. Let me tell you can't get more Miami than that. So we that's where we became friends, and then we wanted to create a little singing group as well, and so we sang together. So for those who don't know, Liza has a great singing voice. You're going to learn a lot about Liza today, because I'm going to give you all her little secrets. Okay.
So wait, were you guys competing in the pageant?
Yes. Technically,
we were, and that's where we became friends.
I love this. Oh my gosh, this is so exciting. And also, I love finding out all of these new things about you, Carolina. All the time, I'm always like, "What? You were in a band? This is crazy. This is great."
I acted. Perdón?
That the people have to hear your voice.
Oh, you want me to do that right now?
Hey, let's go.
My vote is for yes.
Go ahead. Para amarte necesito una razón. We always go to Shakira, right? That's the Colombian.
Are we in a show with Shakira or with Carolina Castillo?
This is amazing.
I'm telling you, these little tidbits are so much fun. They really are. But now I'm all embarrassed. Oh my goodness.
No, that was great.
No, that was beautiful. Carolina. So your art is of the voice, and your daughter's is of the paintbrush.
Well, you know what? This was inspired. I don't know, Liza, if you saw this on my Facebook. Yes. This was inspired by my mother. Camila paid homage to my mom from, our Colombian indigenous heritage. And so she painted her when she was young. So this is my daughter painting my mother when she was young.
Just amazing. She's so talented.
What a blessing. Thank you. So yes, it does run in the family. And but let's go back to Liza, because I want to hear all about what you're doing right now and what you're focusing on. I know you just had a newborn. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's been
Oh my
it's been an amazing wild ride.
What a blessing. What a blessing. Because I know you worked so hard and now you're a full-time mom and you're juggling COVID, you're juggling a baby, you're juggling work. I mean, how are you doing it? How do you do it in the middle of this craziness?
Well, where do I begin? Let me give you my 20-second synopsis, because everyone asks me, and I think first and foremost, I'm so grateful. So whatever I say after that is not a complaint. It has definitely been the most incredible and rewarding experience of my entire life, which sounds cliche, but it is. But definitely the most challenging, because of the times we're living in. It was very different for me. My experience was very different than what I imagined it, and then what a lot of other people go through because of the circumstances, which a lot of other women obviously who gave birth during this time can attest. I didn't have a baby shower, which I was so lucky. I mean, the boxes didn't stop arriving at my house. And everybody wanted to do drive-bys and stuff like that. But of course, at that point, everything was from a distance, people dropping things on my doorstep and, me waving through the window. And so it was very different. But I always like to recognize that even though it was different, I was still very fortunate. I felt very cared for, and I was still very excited. But the times we're living in, I mean, so bizarre. I have to tell you, as a mom, as a woman going into the hospital to give birth. I mean, I got there, nobody else was there. Just to give you an idea, it looked desolate. And basically I looked around, I didn't see anybody. They took my temperature, my husband's, they COVID tested me. And the next thing you know, it was almost like if I went through like this private, elevator, which they had done everything separate, for women who to feel, comfortable and secure to go and, have their babies and whatnot. And so I just saw the nurses and the folks that were caring for me, that were attending to me in my room. But even then, it was like practically in hazmat gear, very different.
Oh my God.
Very, very, very different. But, having said that, the experience overall was not what I imagined it to be, but still had the amazing result. So I'm really happy. My little man is going to be 9 months old now. And, what I've had to learn, obviously, to be a mom. This is the first time gig for me. I've never had one before. So, listening to a lot of advice, and just taking a lot of others' experiences and just trying to make sense of my own journey, and just do my best in the end, just trying to do my best. And through all of this, I've gotten to be home. So that's where, I say, out of something negative and horrible for so many, I have found that what came out of this for me that was positive was that my pace wasn't as quick as it normally is. I wasn't in my regular crazy world, my rat race. I was actually home. I've been able to experience all the firsts, and just truly bond with my son in a way that I know would have been quite different if it was a regular time, non-COVID, unfortunately. But I've had to learn balance. So to go back and, to your original word and your question, my life has always been, I would say, since I met you, since I was 15, unbeknownst to me, what I was craving was balance and calm and zen. And I've been on a lifelong journey, just what I consider my spiritual cocktail, which basically I think so many of us just crave for, whatever you call it and whatever your belief system is, if you have one, if you don't. As humans, I think that we all struggle at some point in time or another with balance, because we live in the real world. We have responsibilities, we have families, we have children, we have jobs. So I think that this experience altogether has been a test for me to try to figure out a way to become an octopus and carefully manage a bunch of different things, in a different manner than before, So it definitely, I would be a liar if I said it hasn't been challenging. Absolutely. But I think that through my journey and through time, I've learned things that I've been able to put into practice, which I've been speaking about actually to friends and colleagues recently, because it's a great thing when you can share, right? And when you can learn from each other. And I think that the lesson for me has been self-care, believe it or not. Because I think as women, we, we're naturally born. We have that thing within us to nurture. It's just part of our being and who we are. And so we're constantly go, 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 do. And we leave ourselves on the back burner for last, whether you're a mom, whether you're not a mom. You know what I mean? It doesn't, it's not defined by being a mother and having children. It's just, like men are built, their anatomy is different than ours. They're if you go back to the time of the cavemen, they would go out and hunt and we'd be taking care of the cubs, or we'd be figuring out dinner, so it's like from the beginning of time, things are set up a certain way because of how we're built. And I think that through time, through evolution, there's some things that have never changed. We always, as women, tend to leave ourselves, last in line. And what, I say my lessons from COVID are many, but I would say the top one has been balance and definitely self-care, because it's what's made me keep my sanity. Truthfully, it was very impactful for me to not be able to see my friends, my family, my loved ones. Even now, there's people who are still extremely concerned. I'm a touchy-feely person. I'm Hispanic, and just my nature. I love hugging. I love kissing. I'm like a chewing gum in Spanish, un chicle. And
Un
so,
chicles.
yes, so it's been strange. It's been strange.
You bring a good point. How has your husband, and I don't want to put you or him because I know he's watching. So let's be nice. But has he helped? Has he really stepped up? Like you were saying, evolution and all of this good stuff. Has he been a helping hand? Because he does seem like he's that type of person.
I have to say I'm really blessed to have a good partner. I think that, obviously there are people out there who are single moms, so I always try to look at both sides of the spectrum. And especially when I'm either sharing or trying to give advice, my personal journey has been incredible from that perspective. I have a great partner. I mean, my husband has been so hands-on. I had a C-section, so I couldn't really do a lot of the first few things, like the first diapers. And my husband had never changed a diaper, and he changed all of my son's diapers from the very beginning, until I was able to move around and whatnot. But even now, I think that it's also that, he's so excited, and, the dynamic of having a little boy, he's just been great. And in short, he's been amazing and definitely a huge help. So I've been able to always bring it back. And when, we're very good at communicating. So when I feel like I'm overwhelmed, I let him know. I'm like, I need time. I need to come up for air. And, like I said, I've taken all the tools that I think I've learned, and now has been a time for me to utilize a lot of those, take them out of my little toolbox, because self-care is extremely important. Generally speaking, not just, during the pandemic that, everything we've been experiencing. But I think that as women, as business women, as humans, we have to take time out for ourselves and give ourselves well-being. If not, eventually something breaks, something cracks. And I think that that's been a huge help to me through, the last several months. And I think that it's also helped me to stay grounded and to be able to, run my business successfully, even though there were many challenges. We closed for several months, just like many other people, and I just think that all in all, some of the biggest positives have been things like this, whereas initially it was strange just to see people virtually, and now it's part of our way of life to a great degree, and you embrace it because at least you're still seeing faces, and it's a different way. It's a new way of connecting.
Yeah. Yes. And I know agree. Events, right? So your company does a lot of events. Yes. And like you said, with COVID, that completely changed everything. I think you're the PR for the Wharf. You're PR for, cigar companies and liquor and all of these fun brands. And how has it been for them as clients, and how has it been for you, as the CEO of your company, to really pivot and create and transform, right? In this pandemic that we're living in.
So it's definitely been very different. This has changed the landscape of the way that things happen across the board. Think about it, from going to the grocery store to anything you do, leaving your front door. Things are different now. I mean, just starting with seeing people wearing masks everywhere. It's still actually very impactful to me. When I'm out in public and you remember. Like it's happened to me a couple of times where I've gone to an event, or even mine that I'm hosting, where I have masks everywhere, but you forget sometimes, and then when you remember, it's like you have to attack, because it's almost like oh my gosh, I'm a cardinal rule. This is part of life now. So from the events perspective, I mean, we did nothing for months, and then all of a sudden, when October came, I remember I started getting a lot of emails from clients and from brand managers just saying, we want to do something. And I remember at first I was shocked, because I thought it was going to go on for much longer. But then I thought about it from a business perspective. Our economy can't collapse. People need to thrive. Businesses need to stay open after so many businesses had closed. I mean, it was horrific to watch.
Yes.
It was really heartbreaking. But those who were able to weather the storm needed to move product, needed to, sell their services. And that's where it just started. It was a barrage of requests. And so we started producing events. The way that it works now is different, in the sense that we have to abide by certain guidelines. From a planning perspective, you have to have all these different insurances, for disease and COVID, and it's different. But people still want to gather, socially, and when it comes to, companies and brands hosting events. So, things that you see normally, you just see them on a grander scale when it's at an event. So definitely the hand sanitizing and all of that.
Yeah. So let's get a little bit controversial, right? So the wharf, it's going to happen when Miriam and I are here, right? So, the wharf and all these things, there's been like no masks. We have to close them down. And they've been really in the media. And then there's, they were saying, well, it's really hard for us to keep, I think it was Emi Guerra that sent out like a big letter saying it's really hard for us to keep everyone with a mask, because once they're drinking and all that stuff. And then we saw the videos of all of these people just crowded in the wharf. How, from a PR perspective, how did you manage that with the media at that time?
So full disclosure, I had the pleasure of being one of the founding team members for that venue, and I've worked with them for probably 2 decades, the owners, including, who include Emmy. But we passed the baton. So another PR firm was dealing with that unfortunate situation. Although we're still very good friends and we still work together, we just did an Only in Date event there on Saturday.
I saw that.
Business models change, things change, and the best part about it is that we can all collaborate. But regarding what happened with his venue, as well as others that I still work with now, you can only do your best, right? So it's almost like saying, it's like children. You have your children playing and you tell them something and you expect that they're going to understand and they're going to follow directions, right? You would think that grown adults would do the same. Not the case. When you have signage everywhere, you have waivers. I mean, I do it at all my events. I have to at this point. Anybody who hosts events will have waivers where you're basically recognizing that you have to abide by the rules, that you don't, that to your knowledge, you're not sick, that you're going to abide by the guidelines in terms of social distancing and masks and whatnot. But when you're talking about a massive amount of people, unfortunately, I hate to generalize, but a lot of them who are young, who don't
and drinking,
they're drinking. They're not thinking about the severity. It happens, and I hate to say it because I've seen the other side of it with even people who are in my age bracket or older. You have the folks that say this is not real. You have the ones that say, I don't care. People are not going to tell me what to do and I don't have to wear a mask, or this is a flu. You deal with all of that, so just multiply. The number becomes exponential. The bigger the event, the bigger the space. You're dealing with a lot of people who unfortunately don't follow the rules and then mess it up for the rest. And I think that that's safe to apply to all the venues, including the wharf. They're a very big space. I mean, you're talking about 40,000 square feet. So, you have a massive amount who will follow the rules, and then you have the ones that don't. And we live in a world right now, let's face it, that's cancel culture, where everyone is a news reporter because they have a phone, so the right picture or the wrong picture can immediately get your business shut down.
Yeah, so I feel like your job has gotten harder, right?
It's a lot harder. I mean, I did an event. It was the first event at Dadeland Mall. And it was only 35 women. It was a women's event, and it was predominantly media, everyone like-minded, responsible, signed waivers, wore their masks, did what they had to do. However, we had a reception, so people were drinking champagne. I kid you not, the moment that we started serving the champagne, to toast, and it was basically something that lasted less than 2 hours. A woman came by, outside of the event, which was roped off, and she saw that 2 women didn't have their masks on. They were about to sip, and she said, "Are you part of this?" And I said, "Yes, I am. May I help you?" And she said, "I guess COVID doesn't exist here, right?" And I'm thinking to myself, good God, really? So how are we supposed to live? If you look, and I've been told her, I said, "Ma'am, if you notice, everyone is wearing their masks. We have sanitizing stations. Everyone is abiding by the rules, but, they need to remove their mask in order to drink." And she just started telling me off. And I thought, this is a world we live in right now. And that's the type of person who I've dealt with it already, who will take a picture, put it on social media, put everybody on blast, and then ruin a business.
Yeah, I'm glad that we're talking about this topic, because I really want to, we've been doing this show for a while now, Carolina and I, and it's been every week, we try to forget that this is happening. But I think for me personally, it's been almost a year now, just over a year since we had our first case in Florida. And this last few weeks, I've really been feeling it, because I have been pretty sheltered in place, and I want to go out. I'm like, I can imagine, we're getting out there, we're letting loose, and I think about these, because you've been cooped up for a year. It's like crazy. We're not meant to live like this, and I think that the small businesses, especially, like, we expect this level of customer service from everyday people. And, we have to I hope that we can just become more empathetic and understanding and give grace to people as we go through. This is still like a difficult time. I was talking to some of the kids in my internship program. They're like, no prom, things like that. So we have bigger fish to fry. If you're upset about something, then just continue to stay home, I would think.
I've said this to many people, and I think that if everyone would just be responsible for themselves, if we could all just do that, if we could just master the art of focusing on ourselves and in every single way, including what I said earlier, self-care, being responsible when it comes to your hygiene, washing your hands, just doing what you need to do, this would be a different world right now. We'd be living, our community here will be quite different. But, it's an unfortunate thing. Everybody's constantly concerned about what everybody else is doing. And I think that in the beginning, people were quite unnerved. They were stressed out because of being cooped up and the whole newness of the whole thing, But I think at this point, it's been a little over a year. And to your point, I think that we have to remind everyone to be kind to each other. It sounds so Hallmark card, but it's important, because at the end of the day, our lives have completely changed. People's lives have been impacted. I'm fortunate where I can say I haven't experienced direct loss. We've experienced loss through family members, through extended folks. But, I know others who've experienced tremendous loss, in terms of life, that's a whole other side of it. Imagine everyone who's experienced professional loss, their livelihood. I know so many whose businesses were completely shut down. So if we could just be
Maria Rivera Lawrence, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for tuning in.
We love Liza. And what I was going to say, Liza, so there's two sides here, right? And you just hit it on the nose. There's the keeping healthy. We need to keep ourselves healthy, our families healthy, our children healthy, Okay. And the other side is we need to have a life and build up the economy and make money and all of this good stuff. But then there's this middle ground that is terrifying, right? So you see all these kids clubbing every single night. And you're like, there's no curfew. Florida is opened, and everyone's promoting it like Florida is open, let's party. And so you think to yourself, okay, all of these kids or young adults are super spreaders. Okay, so then how does that balance the people who are trying to keep a business open versus the people who are trying to keep their families open? It really is such a hard thing to do. And then, obviously there's no mask mandates. There's no way that police officers can actually give you a fine if they see you, because the governor of Florida has said everything is open. I'm not putting any restrictions. And even though people say there's a curfew, right? So Miami-Dade, you hear Daniel living Cava, you hear all of these Francis Suarez, you're like, there's a curfew. Everyone's like, what curfew are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about? There's no curfew. Then there's other people that are saying, please, open the curfew. So obviously this curfew is affecting some businesses. This is super it's exhausting. It really is exhausting because if everyone were mindful, if everyone were, like you said, take care of yourselves, wear a mask, wash your hands, be social distant, but it's not happening. And then what happens is that Florida governor doesn't also allow police officers, like let's say a nightclub like the Wharf. And I'm sorry to keep picking on the Wharf, but it would be so much better for the Wharf to have police officers who say, you know what, I'm going to fine you and I'm going to this. And so maybe people can actually be a little bit more safe and actually do care because they don't want to dish out, $150 because they're going to be fined that night. So I do believe that these restrictions that were that are non-existent from the governor would have made a difference in running a business, in keeping people safe, in having some sort of authority to tell those people, hey, we want to keep you safe. We want to keep it open, but you know what? You're going to be fined or you're going to be in trouble if you don't do A, B, C, and D. And that would have helped businesses tremendously. So I'm just, it's too much. It really is. I feel like we need like a fine line of hold people accountable, keep places open, and then we can find this middle ground of keeping everyone safe.
I agree with you. I think that at this point, since it doesn't come from the top, I think that as business owners, or even if you're not the business owner, if you work somewhere, I don't think there's anything wrong. At this point, it's something having to do with health. I think people need to be verbose and say, I think that we should mandate that anyone who's coming into this business, into this establishment, like many places have done, put your notice on the door. In order to come in, you need to wear your mask. Since you did pick on the Wharf,
let me tell you, I love the Wharf. So this is not against the Wharf.
And the Wharf is outdoors too.
Yeah,
let's not forget that.
But you know what they had to do, which kudos to them. Obviously they got in trouble and it was unfortunate for them. That footage that was all over the place, but they went ahead and they hired a bunch of individuals who are solely the mask patrol. And that's what their uniforms say. And they literally have icons on their actual uniforms that say mask patrol. And their job is to walk around telling people to put on their mask.
I love it.
I think that, in the end, it's going to have to be, since it's not something that's been mandated from the top and from government, it's going to have to be where business owners and people, at the end of the day, if they want to stay open, they want to thrive and they want to make money and they want to stay safe, they need to go ahead and enforce that.
Yes.
There's no other way. There's no other way. And I think that, this is the new way. And I think that in order to move forward, because this is not going to go away tomorrow, this is going to continue for some time, as everyone has said, as we know. So
well, but vaccines are coming out supposedly, right?
yeah,
May
that's
we're
actually,
all getting vaccinated.
that was my segue. I think that, it's a political thing for a lot of people, the whole vaccine topic. But I think that, it's going to be a reality. It's going to be an option and a way for people to have a regular, to be safer. And, for those who are fearful, I think that when you consider the risks of getting, COVID and the worst cases, right? I said this to someone, I'd much rather, have some side effects for a couple of days and feel like if I have a flu, but by getting the vaccine, versus not getting the vaccine and I'm asthmatic, severe asthmatic.
Oh, wow.
It's not like I'm not a spring chicken. I'm not
Oh, wow.
20 years old. I'm a little older than that. So, I think
No, you're not. You're 28.
forever. But I think about it, and I think to myself, nobody has a crystal ball. So nothing's guaranteed. What if I did get it, which I haven't got it yet? I have not gotten it. Neither has my husband. But I think to myself, one thing versus the other, what would I rather, and it's a personal choice, just like everything else. But I think that it should definitely be considered, in my humble opinion, I think everybody should consider doing it.
Absolutely. I feel the same way. How about you, Miriam? I feel that once we're all vaccinated, or most of us are vaccinated, I mean, that's what the scientists and doctors are saying. We get, is it 75% of the population vaccinated, then we can create herd immunity because of it. So what are your thoughts, Miriam?
Ooh, we lost Liza.
Okay,
oh my God, I wonder what happened.
I don't know.
I mean, for me, when it comes to the vaccine, I think that it's great that people feel safer once they've taken it. I was raised earth-based. I spent my time growing up summers on American Indian land. And, for me, Western medicine has never really been something that's been woven throughout my life. I don't feel scared in that way. I don't understand the science behind it. I mean, I kind of get it. It's like, okay, you expose yourself a little and then your body fights it off. But my immune system is pretty kicking. And also I don't know how I feel about our medical system. It just isn't the best. And I don't have the trust that I have I love my doctor, my personal doctor. If she was the one that was giving it to me and she was, we were having that conversation or something, potentially. But for me to go down to some clinic where some stranger, most likely a man, is going to shove some needle into my arm and it's going to be a disruptive experience to my vibe. Yeah. I don't think I'm rushing out the door to do that. I mean, and I'm pretty sheltered in place. I don't go anywhere, so I don't feel like I'm putting people at risk. I order all my groceries at home for the last year. They get delivered. I'm rarely out of the house, just to go on a date here and there when, God sends me someone.
And I'm not ignoring you. I am sending Liza the link because
I'm just babbling at this point to try to wait until she gets back in here.
But the good news about you is that you are a healthy woman. You are someone who has a great immune system. But like Liza was saying, she's she has asthma. She has a baby. She has a husband. I'm sure she, and so I feel that for some of us, like myself as well, I have a daughter and my family, my mom, my grandmother. My mom, my grandmother got vaccinated. I feel like I need to do as much as I can to be healthy. I haven't gotten COVID yet. And so I am really, really looking forward to that vaccine so I can feel like a sense of freedom in a way.
Yes.
She's back.
There she is. Yay. Yeah, and I will add to that. We're still talking about the vaccine, Liza. Is that I do feel like I would have liked to see an improvement in the rollout, and that with the technology that we have available today, this whole entire thing. And I don't want to see shift blame. Oh, it was because Trump was in charge before, and now we couldn't do it. I don't really care. You can throw up a data dashboard in seconds. We have very intelligent engineers. I guarantee every single one of those doses is numbered for sure. They can be tracked very easily. I guarantee it. And we're not getting enough information about how much money is being wasted and thrown in the trash because these vaccines aren't getting to people. I saw some very exciting things being done in New York with a startup that is connecting people in real time to clinics who have last minute vaccines ready to go. So I want to see some technology innovation with this vaccine rollout, and I want to see it yesterday. Like, what's going on?
Yeah, I agree with you.
Well, I have to say, when it comes to technology, I don't want to sound like I'm getting political because I'm not, full disclaimer. But I actually have to applaud Francis Suarez for what he's doing. A lot of people, of course, you can never please everyone. And I'm a person who loves technology, not like you could tell because my phone just froze a minute ago. But I love technology. I've always been extremely attracted to, things that can make life easier, convenience that can do things that we as humans can't do. I mean, that's why we're all obsessed with our phones, right? It's like they're magic in our hands, the things that we're able to accomplish. Who would have thought we could work and do everything we do just from our cell phones? But from, if you were to look holistically at all of the different things that he's talking about and he wants to bring to our city and the people he's talking to, I think it's really impressive because we've never been known for that sector ever. We're known for a lot of things. And you would think, being, such a diverse city, that when it comes to trade and business, we trade with everybody in the world. That's why our airport is as busy as it is. So you would have thought that we would have been a little bit more ahead when it came to technology. And everyone always, you think technology, California is synonymous with it. So I think that I like to give credit where credit is due, and I think that for being a quote unquote young mayor, where a lot of people have called them crazy and ridiculous and whatever, because it's always going to happen. Haters are always going to hate, right? I think it's great that he's trying to take us in that direction, because we're a city that is made up of people from everywhere. If you really think about it, ask yourself how many people that were born and raised here. Everyone's from somewhere else for the most part. It's a rare thing when you meet somebody who says, I'm really from the 305, homegrown, So with people from all over the world, you have a lot of brain power there. I think that we only, if positioned correctly and with the right companies coming here and things in place, Miami could be seen in a very different light. We're not just about nightlife and great food and partying. There's a lot.
And we were talking about this, Liza, with the other Liza that we had at 5. And so we did go into how COVID has been such a devastation, like you were saying at the beginning, for families and people and businesses and our lives. And then at the same time, it's been like this opportunity of transformation for many, whether it's, like you said, communities like Miami or people or businesses, right? And so COVID, I feel gave way, right, for people in California and New York to say, I'm done with California, I'm done with New York. I want to create something in a place where I guess there's less taxes and the whole thing. And Florida seemed to be the right place, and Francis Suarez seemed to be at the right place at the right time, which is great. And I do love this sense of bringing in tech. We were because I think that is innovative, that is transformational. Miami does need it 150%. At the same time, we were talking about Bitcoin, because he's also very much into Bitcoin, how that affects everything with, and I didn't know this, Liza, this came from Miriam, so I want Miriam to talk about it, how Bitcoin actually affects the climate and climate justice. And so you have these wonderful, it's again, balance, right? So it's like these great opportunities, but then that can create also climate change havoc. And so it's kind of like walking on a fine line and a tight rope, and really balancing it out for it to make the best impact for our economy, for our climate, for our businesses, and for people in our community to strive.
Yes. And I mean, I know Francis is a fairly new mayor, 2017, I think, right? So, and I love his energy and his spark. I'm an entrepreneur, slash artist, and it's all about, we always say, talk about your ideas, because talk is really cheap. It's all about execution and how you problem solve and how you think through things and who you bring to the table. I'm interested to know and see how many Black people are on Francis Suarez's inner circle, because when I go and I look at the pictures of my government representatives, and I don't know, but I haven't confirmed this, but who on his staff is in what positions and how many of them are Black? That's my first question. Second, how can we fold in, and I'm kind of just saying this to you, Liza, because I feel like you have a voice that maybe reaches people, and I feel like you're a supportive woman, and potentially I want good things to happen, and I offer myself to support the growth of our city, to move things forward, and maybe trickle down, it will get there. But it's like, while we have this attention, can we fold some of these other important topics into the narrative? Does it always have to be about Sunbank and a VC? Well, how much is Sunbank going to commit to our climate crisis? What about our lower income neighborhoods? How about our poverty level? We're about to see the report come out, I believe, from the United Way about, they do I think it's every year they put out their report, and I'm really eager to see. I hope we can get someone on from there to see what this effect has done for our wealth and poverty gap, for our community here. I mean, we have a lot of other things that it can't all just be roses and flowers and sunshine, but
well, I mean, COVID has just focused on the inequality and inequity and all of the stuff that's happening, right? So, I mean, that's part of Florida. Florida has given the vaccines to the people who have paid to play, right? The rich. And then you have the loopholes. Yes. You have the loopholes of, you have the friends and the doctors and all that good stuff.
Yes.
And then you have, like you just said, the communities that are not getting them, that have to really don't have a car, they need a walk up, which I'm really happy to hear the Overtown Youth Center, right, Liza? You saw that. The Overtown Youth Center. I love them. And so, they created, an area there. Well, not them, with the federal government and our local government and the whole thing, where people can actually walk to the center. I was there this week and with a friend of mine, and he's 56. What they're doing is at the end of 5:30, whatever vaccines they have left, they bring in, they start calling ages, 65, 64, 63, 62. On Monday, they start 60, by the way, right? So, and then those extras go to maybe 8 more people for the day. And it really is a sense of luck, because I've seen it, I've been there, we're all talking about it, but those are the centers that are really helping, the walk-ups. The churches, also Miriam, right? The churches, the Black churches really, Moms Demand, whoop, whoop for Moms Demand, because they have been really real advocates for their communities as well. So it's kind of like these nonprofits and organizations working together with the local government and the federal government to really get into the senior citizens and the Black and brown communities. But, we still haven't gotten to the farm workers. So, I mean, we could talk about this all day.
I would start to get into opportunity zones. Don't get me on that hype for right now.
Yeah, no, we can, literally, Liza, we can go on forever on this topic. So let's circle back to you.
Can we go back to talking about your work with the DJs and the chef? The chef.
I want to hear about more new projects for you, and the hopefulness that we feel in regards to herd immunity, vaccination. And so the more opportunities that are going to come our way. So what new projects do you have on the table?
I'm ready to get out. Where can I go? And if I want to go out.
So, I mean, I'm sure you've noticed we're all on social media, and it's basically become like the lifeline to be able to stay in touch and keep on top of what's going on. And so many places are opening. It makes me so happy to see that restaurants are opening, where you can actually now go outside. People want to get out. So I'm all for that, strolling, walking out, going somewhere where you feel safe, and giving restaurants and places that need your business, that patronage. And there's so many that are opening. It's super exciting. And people that I know, that I care about, even folks that I have no attachment to, I'm applauding from afar and just saying, oh my gosh, okay, great, Miami for the win. So with all of these places that are opening, there's a sense of hopefulness. There's a different energy that you can kind of feel when you're talking to people, and summer's right around the corner. So I think that people are going to be very surprised to see a lot of the summer events. I personally am involved with a concert series that's going to take place. But, disclaimer, it's going to be very different type of concert, taking into consideration safety and distancing, and the actual logistics of the concert series will reflect that it was thought out, very carefully, to make sure that people are forced to be distant, enjoy in a really cool way, almost futuristic.
I love it.
I'll be really excited to talk about it, once I'm able to give the details. But it's going to be in such a big property that is set up for this type of, of a function, if you want to call it that. And I already know of others. I know of other people and other companies that are going to be doing outdoor concerts and stuff like that. And I think we need it.
Even with theater, I've seen there was a flamenco show. I love flamenco. I'm half Spaniard, and there was a flamenco show down in South Dade where they had flamenco outside, and everyone was sitting outside. Then there's also the drive-in movies, right?
So we've been attached to a lot of those, the drive-in theaters. We worked with Desertland, which did it first. Then we worked with the folks over at the fair. We did some over there. And you know what? It's about being creative. We've been working with so many different organizations. I think it's important to mention, because it's not something that a lot of people know unless they've worked with me, but everything that we do is tied into a charitable organization. That's important for me to mention. It's actually the most important thing. My company is going to be 20 this year. And from the very beginning, I said anything and everything I do.
Yeah, that's huge. That's amazing.
Let's honor this moment.
Oh, thank you.
Seriously,
let's
that's
really
massive.
Honor this moment and really enjoy it, and really congratulate you, because that is a huge milestone. So congratulations to you, Liza.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, we're going to have you back to do a whole entrepreneurship breakdown for us.
I would love that.
AKA for me.
Opportunity for me to recognize the 20 individuals, who I feel have been important, impactful, critical, if you want to call them stepping stones on the ladder of my career and my company. Nothing's accomplished by, you can't do it all by yourself. And I've been fortunate to collaborate and learn from a lot of amazing people. And those who actually I've been able to touch, tap on the shoulder during this time and work with them in a different way, So for example, the drive-ins that you mentioned, we were so excited for Halloween in October. We worked with an organization called Gate 8, which you're probably familiar with.
Yes.
And we were able to do something so cool. Trick-or-treating this year in my neighborhood sucked, for a lack of a better way of putting it. We didn't have one trick-or-treater, and it broke my heart. But, through work, I was able to somehow make kids happy. So with Gate 8, they did an event, which was so cool. Basically, during the earlier hours, it was trick-or-treating for kids, but it was trunk or treating. So they said it was a drive-in movie, and Coco was playing, and everybody.
I remember this.
Everybody opened their trunks, and the kids were able to trick or treat, from trunk to trunk. And then once it was a little bit later where the kiddos needed to, be home getting ready for bed, then it was, one of the classic horror films, and it was an adult driven, movie, and with food trucks and drinks and the whole nine. But Gay 8 thought about this. I wish I could take the credit, but that trunk or treating was so successful. And all in all, it was tied into an organization that does great things in our community. So those are the types of things I love to be part of. This concert series that I'm mentioning to you, that's going to take place during the summer, amazing, what it's going to be able to do for our community. There's 2 different charitable organizations that will benefit, and that's how we like to do things. Whenever I work with someone, it's a double-edged sword. It's gotten me into trouble, where I've gotten into uncomfortable conversations, but it shows you people's real colors and the type of people they are. When you tell them, listen, I realize that you're not collaborating with any type of charitable organization. Do you have this established for your company? Do you do anything regarding community impact? Is there anything that, you would like to show support for, any type of advocacy? And I've had people tell me, I'm running a business, or or people who do the whole, I'll think about it and I'll let you know if I decide to support anything. And very quickly, I make my decisions. It's part of the biggest, I think it's the blessing that I've been able to have my own company as long as I have, because I've gotten to choose, who I want to work with when I don't feel like we're aligned. And if you don't care about helping, I don't care what it is, whether it's advocacy for children, dogs, you pick. There's so many different causes to support. And if as a company, as a business owner, I have made it my business, to somehow, some way, some form, work with so many year round. And I'm not a ginormous corporation. It saddens me if as a business owner, you can't support in some way, in some little, minute way. I really don't have room for that type of thinking.
And that's why I love you. I love you. I love you because you stay true to your values. You have not changed. I think you've gotten better and better. And I am just so proud of you. I am just so honored to be your friend and to have you here, because this is why I feel so aligned with you, and I'm always, your biggest cheerleader and in your social media, because I love you, I respect you, and I'm so glad you're not willing to compromise your values of giving back to the community, no matter what. So thank you for that.
It's just thank you, but it's twofold. Think about it. You're giving me a platform right now, and I recognize that. It's the street has 2 different lanes, right? It's like everything is about you reap what you sow, right? So you're allowing me the opportunity to share my thoughts, my message, what I hold dear, and embrace, and I appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. It means a lot to me. So thank you so much for allowing me the platform and time to be able to talk about this, which is so important to me. And I think that when people ask me, what keeps me going, or what do you think has been part of your success? You know what? I think success is relative. For some people, success is titles or it's acknowledgments. Other people, it's money. For me, it's always been the same thing. I love that I get to work with people. I love that I get to execute my ideas. And I love that I get to work with organizations and people that I like. So there's nothing better than doing what you love and being able to see the impact of, to me, this is not mine. What's in my head and what I'm able to share, what I'm able to give and do, those are gifts and that I was given, right? And your gifts are not yours. Your gifts are to share. We're put on this earth to share. And for people who think otherwise, they've got it all wrong. Forgive me. So when you're able to work with people or surround yourself with people who understand that and who take your gifts, who accept them, who embrace them, you just want to do more. You want to be productive because you feel appreciated. And there's nothing better than feeling appreciated. It makes you want to work harder, right?
Preach. You are taking us to church. I am loving it. Yes.
Yes. With that, I'm going to tell you my last little thing. I had made like little mental kind of little notes in my head. I think that this experience that we've been through, this wild ride for the last year, I think that many can attest, has taught us that this is what's important. We had stopped talking. Did you notice people didn't talk? Everything, I was guilty of it a lot of the time, texting, emailing. I realized that through all of this, I pick up the phone and I call people more than I used to. I realized
Good.
that the success of the work that I've been doing recently, true, 100%, I would be lying if I said otherwise, has been because I've been collaborating more than usual. So where I would have, let's say, worked with a company or two to produce something, I've told people straight up, and I've been 100% transparent and said, listen, I need to divide this between you and someone else because I want to share the pie. Let's all eat a little bit. But so that all of us can get a piece. These are hard times. I want to be able to spread the dollars. I want to spread the love. And I think that things have turned out even better because amazing things happen when people work together and collaborate, different ideas, different styles, different resources, and I think that's what I personally have embraced through all of this. And I've seen it through a lot of small business owners, a lot of female businesses that I've collaborated with or watched from afar that I've actually just reached out to because I've noticed how they flourished by changing their business model, quote unquote pivoting, the marketing word that everybody uses. But I've noticed a trend. It's been about empowering each other, about women and different people embracing each other. I constantly go back to saying women, women, women. Can you tell I'm just so pro girl, pro woman, girl power? But
girl power.
Across
but
the
the
board,
truth is that you have a pretty rockin' man, a rockin' man behind the woman. So we have to acknowledge him, Gabriel, because
100%.
And he promotes and promotes and promotes you, and he's got your back so good. And I'm just like, she's so blessed, and I love to see that with both of you. I think it's just a blessing because not many people have that. And going back to what you just said and preaching that beautiful knowledge that you were preaching, it really is about building bridges and not walls. And the more bridges we build and the more we share, the more we grow. And it's also kind of like fulfilling, right? Doesn't your soul feel better? Like my soul feels better when I give back. My soul feels better when I share. My soul feels better when I collaborate. So I love all of this knowledge that you're spreading to our viewers. And I just want to say I love you. And I thank you for who you are.
Thank you. And you know what I think? I think it would be great if we could somehow give a lot of these small businesses. When I say small, I mean like one woman shows or one girl shows. All these little emerging businesses that young girls have started. All of these people who don't really have a voice. We're fortunate. We've been around for a bit. We have a great network and wonderful people that we can count on. Hint, hint. But for example, in my case, I've been collaborating recently, working with these two small companies. When I say small, they're one girl shows who are pumping out incredible work. And they're both millennials and have taught me, listen, an old dog needs to learn new tricks. They're seeing things through different lenses. And whereas this was something that I would have done completely in-house, I realized, you know what, I want to give that opportunity and share some of these projects with younger companies, with people who are just starting. I was fortunate where I had people pave the way for me, and I always say it wasn't just, oh wow, I was so great and I just became successful. No, you know what, I had amazing people that gave me opportunities, that believed in me, that gave me the chance to screw up. So part of me, I've been toying with this idea and I'm just bringing it up now organically. I think it would be great to somehow spotlight and give a platform to these young girls or people who are just starting their gig, who don't have a million followers, who don't have a lot of resources, but who just want to do good work, want to get out there, but who have what I consider, good intentions and good spirits, who just want to do their thing, just want to make a living, but probably don't have the platform, that we do, So I think that's probably a direction I'm going to go in. I've always liked mentoring and working with students and stuff like that. But I think that with the recent turn of events, that's probably something that'll, me personally, will give me some fulfillment to be able to bring some of these companies, to light. And at the end of the day, they're the ones who are going to be around when I'm gone tomorrow.
And I love this because you are so aligned with Miriam and I. Miriam is a millennial, badass entrepreneur, mentor as well. And so I think the three of us are very aligned with what you're saying and really uplifting these young women and being their mentors and providing them assistance and support. So yes. Miriam?
Yes, absolutely. No, I'm fangirling a little bit. Thank you so much, Carolina, for... I'm gonna brag about this later on Instagram.
Thank you. This is so awesome.
Well, I love you both. I'm so happy that I was able to make this beautiful introduction. I'm so happy that that I had you here on the show. I've missed you very much. And next time you need to introduce us to your baby boy. I see him in every picture, every social media, and I was hoping to see him here on video. Is he sleeping? El gordito. Could he do a cameo or no?
Oh my gosh.
Yes!
Oh, I love babies.
Miriam, all you have to do is ask. All you have to do is ask me.
Let's see that little baby. I can do my
Verle sus cachetes a ese gordito, a verlo.
Okay.
A ver ese gordito.
Hi. Hola. Hola. ¿Cómo estás? Hola. Oh my God, look at that full head of hair.
Back to that whole quest for balance. So I wanted to thank you.
Felicidades, amiga. I'm so proud of you. Thank you for bringing us into your home. We love you, and I can't wait to work more with you because I think
have a fantastic weekend, and thank you for everything.
You too. I think from here, sky's the limit. Right, Miriam?
Absolutely. Muchas gracias.
Besitos. Thank you, viewers. Ciao.